Laws of exponents, dividing monomials, lesson 4.3 notes. Now we're going to talk about how to divide these monomials. All right, there are 3 steps. Step 1, group the coefficients together, then group the like variables together. Step 2, divide the coefficients. And step 3 is divide the like variables using the quotient of powers property. I don't know if you recognize this, but this is very similar to when we did multiplying monomials. Step 1 for multiplying, group the coefficients together, then group the like variables. Same thing with dividing monomials. Step 2 for multiplying is to multiply coefficients. Well, when we're dividing, we divide the coefficients. Step 3 is multiply the like variables using the product of powers property, which means you add the exponents. Well, step 3 for dividing will be divide the like variables using the quotient of powers property, which means instead of adding exponents, we will subtract exponents. So again, let's look at these steps. Step 1, group them together. Well, when we did that with multiplying, remember we listed everything off to the side. We're not going to do that anymore. We don't have enough space or time to do that. These problems are going to get bigger and harder, so we want to try to eliminate as many steps as we can. So instead of grouping stuff off to the side, I want you to visually group stuff together. In other words, I see that I've got a negative 6 and 2, so they would group together. My coefficients would group together. The x cubed and the x to the first would group together. The y to the fourth and the y to the first would group together. And then I also notice here that it's just z to the 8th on top, which will stay z to the 8th in the numerator. So that's how you're going to group it. You're just going to visually look at it and group it together. Step 2 will be to divide the coefficients. When you divide the coefficients, you want to use the fraction button on your calculator. You want to use the fraction button. For the first couple problems we do, you could divide because 4 divided by 2 is 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. In other words, we're going to get integer answers. But there's going to come a time where it's not going to give you an integer answer, and we don't want decimals. We want to keep it as fractions. So that's why we want to use the fraction button on your calculator. So when you divide the coefficients, get in the habit of using the fraction button on the calculator. For step 3, we're going to divide the like variables using the quotient of powers property. Quotient of powers property means we will subtract exponents. So again, we're going to divide the coefficients, the numbers out front, using the fraction button on the calculator. Then after we divide the coefficients, we will divide the like variables using the quotient of powers property, which means we will subtract the exponents. If you have any questions on that, let me know.